mid 80s for us. And by Saturday, we are back in the 90s. So we are going to be enjoying these next couple of days, not seeing anything in the way of smoke in our forecast. But again, we will be heating up 90s again this weekend. It's 1 o'clock.
President Trump just cannot let go of the 2020 election, which he lost.
Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure, including electronic voting machines and ballot counting systems.
That's from the president's recent primetime speech, where he once again made fact-free and baseless claims about election interference.
Fear is not evidence. Repetition does not make something true.
Well, as president, Trump is now working on the ground to undermine faith in elections. The administration is demanding sensitive voter rolls from states, threatening officials with prosecution if they don't comply.
The problem we have is the lies from the White House are making us look terrible, and that's problematic for our voters.
I'm Meghna Chakrabarti. Today on Point, the latest on President Trump's attack on American elections. Stay with us.
Live from NPR News, I'm Lakshmi Singh. President Trump is threatening to bomb one power plant or bridge in Iran for every projectile Iran launches at the Strait of Hormuz. This comes as Iran and the U.S. continue attacks on each other's infrastructure for nearly 2 weeks straight. Here's NPR's Emily Fang.
Iran says the U.S. has hit power plants and several bridges already in the last week and a half of daily strikes. And Iran has bombed water desalination plants and a gas plant in the Gulf in retaliation. Under the Geneva Convention, which the U.S. is a signatory of, deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure could constitute a war crime. The renewed hostilities between the U.S. and Iran have slowed ship traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, and vessel tracking data shows some ships making a U-turn in another key channel, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, after a Yemeni militant group, the Houthis, announced a blockade of that waterway this week. Emily Fang, NPR News.
Iran says the war has claimed thousands of its citizens' lives, including many civilians. The United States has now lost at least 18 service members. Today, President Trump attended the dignified transfer of 4 service members recently killed in action. Artificial intelligence giant OpenAI is disclosing what it describes as a significant security incident. The company says an AI agent escaped containment to target another company's digital infrastructure. Here's NPR's Jenna McLaughlin.
Experts at OpenAI say they were testing a combination of cutting-edge AI agents to see if they could conduct sophisticated targeted cyber attacks when the test went wrong. In a new blog post, the company says the AI agent was contained in an internal digital testing environment when it managed to find a way to connect to the open internet and then broke into another AI company called Hugging Face. It's unclear what specific technical instructions or prompts OpenAI engineers were using that led to the incident, though Hugging Face says it detected and contained the attack quickly. OpenAI argues that the incident reveals the real-world capabilities of AI agents to conduct long-running complex cyber attacks and the importance of building safeguards into frontier models. Jenna McLaughlin, NPR News.
Millions of people are in the path of a tropical storm that is expected to continue to affect.
We're joining the Forest Service press conference now.
The Superior National. We have a full lineup for you today, including both operations from the Complex Incident Management Team and the National Incident Management Team, fire status and summary. We're going to talk a little bit about forest closures and boundary waters permits, and get a weather outlook and a smoke impact outlook, and a few additional new things that just came about at the end. So without further ado, we will bring Shane Sturgill on from the Complex Incident Management Team, Operations Section Chief. Shane?
All right, good morning. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. My name is Shane Sturgill. I'm with the Operations Chief with Southern Area Team 1. And I'll start off on the Chubb and Echo fires. Continuing to, on the Chubb fire, we are continuing to improve lines Most of those lines are in place. We're following that up with heavy mop up, utilizing water, crew resources in those areas, as well as Echo 2. Line construction is complete around most of that operation, and we are heavy in mop up operations to extinguish any heat identified near some of our control lines. There is still approximately 8 fires that we still have a monitor patrol status, and those are checked twice a day and will continue as we move forward to be checked twice a day. With that, we do have a large contingent area of IA responsibility, which we do have an IA group identified in branch 5, which is of the Chubb and Lake fires. Moving across to the Sioux fire, we have the line that is south of Echo Trail that has line completely in place. But due to some of the weather that we've had the last couple of days, we've had a large number of trees that have came down across some of our lines. So we're having to go back in to reopen and following that up with heavy mop up presence in that area. We did have a lightning strike identified a few days ago within that area. No concerns from that. Continue to check that daily and then deal with any heat that may be in that area. Along the Echo corridor or the Echo Trail corridor from the Sioux Fire south of Bear Trap over to camp, extensive works being done on there to clear woody material along the trail to create what we call an unshaded fuel break or shaded fuel break as we move across the landscape below those fires to help maintain those fires north of Echo Trail. Moving over to Campfire, we do have line on the southwest corner of that fire all the way around, tying into natural features, heavy mop up presence there with crews trying to identify those heats that may cause us problems during a fire weather day, addressing any issues there. All across all fires, we're looking at structure assessments, and structure prep. Those efforts are continuing with a lot of good work out there, having structures ready to go, but that work will continue for the foreseeable future, and we're working on that as well. Fernberg corridor, we're doing structure assessments in there and making those, doing assessments and implementing some structure protection closer to the campfire. In the area of the hydro plant and power line corridor, working closely with the power company to address any concerns or needs for doing mitigation work along that corridor. I'll go up and talk about a little bit about the thumb fire, which is kind of new from our last conference. We have inserted a 10-person interagency hotshot crew. They're going to be arriving in there today to look at some critical areas and gather some intelligence on the ground with boots on the ground of what activity is in that area. For every shift prior to, we've been doing aerial reconnaissance. So we've identified some critical areas, and we have inserted those crews for a mission of approximately 3 days to see what our future needs are. That's all I have.
Thank you, Shane. We appreciate that update. And again, please hold your questions to the end. Up next is Shane Loomis from NEMO.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Jason Loomis, Incident Commander with the National Incident Management Organization. You got me okay, Joy?
Jason Loomis. Yes,
okay,
there you go.
All right, very good. Okay, again, Jason Loomis, Incident Commander with the National Incident Management Organization. I'm going to brief you all on specifically the Lower Knife Fire. So NEMO, or National Incident Management Organization, assumed command on Sunday, July 19th, after being diverted from Ely and all the fires that were just reported out on. We assumed command of the Little Knife Fire upon our arrival It was identified that this was going to be a long-term strategic planning effort, and so our focus was getting intelligence gathered from the field on both sides of the border. You could see the fire originated in Canada and then across the international border on July 15th, and approximately 5,000 acres on the U.S. side. So we got all of our cooperators and our interagency partners together after we gathered that intelligence and talked about the values and the areas that we needed to focus on as far as mitigating the risk and protecting. And so those values were identified largely off to the east there in the Gunflint Trail corridor proper, where we've identified several structures, lodges, commercial buildings, and associated infrastructure. The other values that were shared with the team were a handful of isolated values out in front of the fire, including cabins and communications towers, infrastructure, things of that nature. So our team was tasked to develop, again, a strategic long-term plan to mitigate those risks, evaluate those risks or those values, and put a plan together. Fortunately for us, upon our arrival, we've had some pretty moderated weather. We've had a lot of wind, but we've had a lot of precipitation and moderated conditions, which has really kept this fire in check and at bay. And so with that decreased fire behavior and decreased smoke that we've seen over here, it's allowed us increased time to put a firm plan together that is for the long term and one that is durable and transferable. So that said, the first couple of days we focused in on that Gunflint Trail corridor, evaluating the structures, working with the fire chief and some of his staff to take a look at, evaluate how much work was needed in there to prepare for any kind of additional mitigating actions. I will say and give a ton of credit to that community. They are a fire-wise community, so a lot of that work has been done. A lot of those efforts have been invested in, and so we just appreciate all the awareness and all the work that has already been completed. And so what that's going to do is that's going to allow us to expedite the work that's needed in there around those structures and in that community. Additionally, as you all know, we're at national preparedness level 5, and in the region geographic area, we're at a preparedness level 4. And so what that's doing is it's creating a little bit of a lag time for us to get us the resources that we need to insert into the wilderness to take a little bit more direct action. As such, we're starting to see some of those resources get filled and slowly trickle in here. And once they get briefed and get the Boundary Waters canoe training, we will start inserting those folks into strategic areas of the fire, most notably on the north east corner there where the cursor was, and then certainly down on the southern flank. Indications from our infrared detection flight last night show very, very few, very isolated heat signatures, and we're going to verify that with boots on the ground and take appropriate action as necessary. Resources include, we're getting the Great Lakes Wildland Fire Module, which are experts in backcountry and wilderness fire management. They're a combination of highly skilled operators, but also highly skilled intelligence gatherers. They have a UAS platform that can help, or a drone that can help us gather that intel and feed it back here so we can help make informed decisions. Additionally, we're inserting the Geronimo Hotshots. They're actually a Type 2 initial attack crew, but they are, several of them are hotshot qualified. We're going to insert them into the wilderness as well to take action on protecting some of those values that have been shared with us. And then lastly, we have a module of 12 smoke jumpers coming in. Again, smoke jumpers are accustomed to operating in remote locations, requiring very little logistical support. So those are the right resources in the right place for the right mission. So we're looking forward to getting that contingent in to again, take care of protecting some of those values that have been shared. All in all, things are going really good over here. We know that things are pretty calm now, but we also know that we're early in the fire season, and the conditions the way they are, the fire just continues to burn deeper and deeper, and it's just ready for those conditions of hot, dry, windy weather to return before it would materialize again in some form of elevated fire behavior. We do have some aviation assets that are assigned to both help with any direct suppression by the use of bucket drops, but also with any extraction or insertion of special equipment or crews. So all in all, feeling pretty good about things where we're at, but we still have a ways to go with respect to putting this thing into a place where we feel comfortable leaving it. I think I'll leave it at that and reserve the time for any additional questions at the end. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Jason. Now we'll move over to Tom Hall to give the forest closures and boundary water permit update.
Yeah, thanks, Joy. Tom Hall, I'm the agency administrator for the Forest Service. I want to first say thank you so much to the incident management teams and the plans that they put in place. They've given us a good opportunity for the firefighters to be really successful. So thank you so much to the firefighters and all of their hard work out on the ground. So the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness closure, that is in place. Right now, permits have been canceled through Friday, July 24th. We are working on a plan at the forest level to reduce that closure. At this point, we don't have it so that we can release, but we are coordinating with our partner agencies, specifically thinking about what are those other types of resources that are needed to make that successful place to be open to the public. So thinking of search and rescue, that's probably one of those key pieces, given that burden that is on the 3 counties sheriff's offices at this point, and the amount of work that they're putting into closures and evacuations. The need, if we open up the boundary waters for search and rescue, is definitely something that we're considering. We do have staff that is starting to engage and think about where are those places that are best to open up, where are those corridors within the boundary waters that people are still going to be able to experience that and also not be in the way in those fire operations. So at this point, that's all I have for an update.
All right. Thanks, Tom. Now we will pass it over to Carrie for a weather update.
Sounds good. Thank you. Basically, since our last meeting, we had quite a bit of winds, right? So I want to keep you up to date on the latest. Let's see. Okay, we had some really strong winds over the fire, and wind gusts were up to 38 miles an hour at the Fernberg Weather Station, which was just southeast of the campfire. And there were several trees down, as Shane noted in the operations section of this update. And the smart thing was they knew the winds were coming, and they disengaged from the fire line and stayed safe. So very excellent there. Since our last meeting, we did have 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch of precipitation on the fire. The highest amounts were across the thumb and the campfires. But just want to show you here kind of where we've been for temperature wise across the area and where we just finished being and kind of where we're going to be trending the next several days. So when the fire was really going, we had those high temperatures on this chart, those 80s or upper 80s, 90s, and even low hundreds across the fire. So that'd be the 12th, 13th, 14th, and a little bit into the 15th with some near record highs. Since then, those really high temperatures have diminished. We've gone actually below normal for temperatures. Normal temperatures are in that gray box in the middle. Typical high temperatures for this time of year are in the upper 70s for this region. And yesterday, drizzly, kind of cloudy and very, very cool. Highs were only in the low 60s, and relative humidity only got into the 50% range for lowest values. As we move into the last week, talk about the last week and how much precipitation fell. Most locations about 0.9 to over an inch. over northern Lake County and northern St. Louis County. And percent of normal wise for the last week, most locations are around normal and even a little bit still below normal. Basically, we have a saying here, the locals have a saying specifically, when it's not raining, it's drying. So that's kind of the theme that we're continuing to talk about for the next several days. Even for the last month, even though we have had precipitation, it's really been very short term. And for the last month, we're still well below normal for northern St. Louis County and northern Lake County. Still in the drought, so we still have the D1 and D2 drought. This updates tomorrow, so keep an eye on for that, but we will still be in a drought. And basically, high pressure overhead for today. Not expecting anything precipitation wise, but we're going to start trending up with the temperatures a little bit lower with the relative humidity values. So we had the 60s yesterday. We're going to be back to normal temperatures, seasonal temperatures for today, and back into the mid 80s as we move into especially Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So high pressure for today. As we move into Thursday, there is a 30% chance of precipitation, just mainly some light afternoon showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, really, really close to the Canadian border there. Not expecting any severe weather from that. And then on Friday, a better chance of precipitation, but it's not going to be until after the firefighters get off the line, or at least most of them do, after the peak heating of the day. We're expecting thunderstorms to be mainly during the overnight hours, and we do have a marginal risk of severe weather, mainly west of our fires, but just a heads up for those folks that any strong storms could produce some hail Friday night. So we're going to keep on an eye on that for those folks on the ground. And I'll be here for if there are any questions at the end. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Carrie, up next is Josh with Smoke Impacts and Outlook. Josh, are you ready?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. So, hi everyone. My name is Josh Hall. I'm an air resource advisor supporting the forest and the incident management team, forecasting smoke and helping communicate that to the public. Due to the weather that Carrie just described and the conditions, we're finally seeing, and I'm showing a picture of the fire and smoke map that is developed by the program, Interagency Wildland Fire Air Quality Response Program and the EPA, and it shows air quality monitoring as well as where we're forecasting smoke. And the other part you can see on here is kind of light smoke, and this part in here is smoke that's getting pushed into the from probably fires in the Northwest Territory. These three boxes are where we have been forecasting in terms of from these fires here in Upper Ontario. And I just want to contrast that to what we saw a few days ago, where there were widespread impacts across that whole area. This is finally just cleared in the last day or so. And so we're finally back to good air quality across the area, which is great. As Carrie mentioned, as we start getting into hotter, drier periods, and Jason alluded to as well, that these fires are far from being complete, and so we do expect increases in smoke as we kind of as the summer wears on, and while we're getting good impacts right now, we're good air quality, we're expecting smoke to come back at some point or another. And just to kind of draw people's attention, these areas over here in North Dakota and whatnot, this is smoke that's pushing down into the U.S. right now from those fires in the Northwest. And we are expecting those to push into Minnesota later this afternoon on the far western areas, and then push back into this area tomorrow afternoon. we'll see definitely moderate conditions, and we may see a few hours of unhealthy for sensitive groups, which is the orange color that will be pushing back into that area. But then I think as southwest winds pop up later in the week, that should all be cleared out by Friday and Saturday. But I think the message is good air quality now, but we'll keep an eye on the fires, and would expect with more smoke from these fires later in the summer to see increased impacts in this area. But for right now, it's looking very good. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Josh. We have a few questions in the chat, and we've answered them in the chat so far. Before we go into a full Q&A, we do have an announcement. We did have 2 of our PIOs go out into the field, and they are taking photos and videos that we will be uploading onto our InciWeb page for your use here later this afternoon. And then I'm going to turn it over to Lenore, and she can give you an update on a media tour that we're planning.
Thank you, Joy. I just want to say thanks to everyone. I know there's been a lot of questions around media tours, and so we've been working hard to put something together. We know it's important for everyone to get the story out of what's happening on the ground, but just keeping an eye on safety. It took us a little while to manage through the logistics of that. So the plan right now is that we are going to do a media field tour tomorrow. We are going to meet somewhere in Ely at 9:30 a.m. And so if you are interested in doing a media tour, you can send an email to our incident email box, and we will get a list together and get you out a confirmation email this evening about where we're going to meet as we wrap up logistics. So the thing with the media tour just is ensuring that everyone has on sturdy shoes, and it will require full personal protective equipment. So we have ordered some extra supplies, a hard hat, Nomex pants, and a shirt, as well as a fire shelter. But if there are any media that have their own PPE, I think supplies are going to be limited. So please bring it if you have it. Otherwise, we're going to do the best that we can to accommodate everyone. So again, you can send an email to the incident email box. You can drop something in this chat, and we will compile a list and get an email confirmation with a location meeting for the morning at 9:30 a.m. We'll meet and then we will finalize the logistics for our media tour. So, and then we'll get out the information that Joy also mentioned about sharing the photos that are taken in the field as well. So if there's any questions, you can just give us a call or shoot us an email. I'm happy to facilitate that. Thanks, Joy.
Awesome. Pretty excited about that opportunity for everyone. We do have a couple of questions regarding the forest order in the chat. Tom, do you want to address that for us?
Yeah, so related to the closure, it is enacted through a forest order. All forest orders have an expiration date when we sign them. And so that expiration date is October 1st. Underneath that, we have been canceling Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness permits on a rolling basis. And so the latest cancellation of that. Let's mute that real quick.
Hi, John. Hello.
So just to start over just a little bit, there's multiple levels of how we enact this. The closure is a part of a forest order. All forest orders have an expiration date as we sign them. And so that is set at October 1st. We have been canceling Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness permits on a rolling basis, knowing that there may be an opportunity to reduce or end that closure at an earlier date. And so we have canceled those Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness permits through this Friday, the 24th of July. As we reduce that closure, those areas that are still underneath that closure would still have an expiration date of October 1st. Any place that is lifted, those places would then be open, and those permits associated where we lift that closure would then still be valid for what we have not already canceled.
So the next question, Jason, could you explain values?
And I explain values. Yeah. So values are anything that the local or the agencies or the cooperators identify as something that is very difficult to replace. And that includes everything from homes, commercial buildings, infrastructure, communication towers, pretty much anything, historical buildings, where the ask would be to take a slight elevated risk to protect. And so when we talk about critical values, that's really what we're talking about there. So it has a pretty broad encompassing definition associated with it, but it's something that we identify, or we collectively identify as something that is worth protecting and taking a little bit elevated risk and exposure to our responders. So I hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Jason. I appreciate that. Other questions, please raise your hand or drop it into the chat. Annie, go ahead.
Hi, thank you so much for all these updates. They're super helpful. Appreciated the kind of fire by fire update. I wonder if you could just kind of give just one more just overview for all the fire efforts, firefighting efforts, just how you would describe the status of things, just writ large.
Tom, you want to do that as an overview
Sure.
from the forest perspective? Second here, let me get you on camera.
So all of the fires that we have ongoing, right, that both the complex incident management team is managing and the National Incident Management Organization is managing across the arrowhead of northern Minnesota. Right now, those fires have not been very active over the last few days. And so there's been really good progress at containment on each of these fires, whether those are plans to insert crews or those are direct lines that have been put in place. And so there has been really good progress made while we have this cooler, wetter weather, knowing that there is potential for fire weather, extreme conditions that may exist into the future, knowing that we're going into August and into September when fire conditions are expected to continue to get worse.
Okay, we have a question in the chat. How many more firefighters are expected to be brought in above the number here now?
I could speak to the Little Knife Fire. We're expecting another 50 to 60, maybe as much as 75 firefighters. You know, it's very technical ground that they'll be operating in, especially in the wilderness and the boundary waters wilderness. And so we need some very specialized resources. So it's taken a little bit of time to get those folks in place. The good news is we're getting them. It's just taking a couple of days to get them here in travel status and also get them trained up into the strategies and tactics that are employed and that are unique to the area. So we don't anticipate a significant increase much beyond that, just because we're trying to staff commensurate with not only the need but the risk as well to the responder.
And I'll add to for the Southern area team, we have approximately almost 800 resources here on the incident now. We will see an uptick, just a slight uptick in those numbers. But as we have those resources that time out after their 14 days, there could be a replacement crews coming in behind those. So I don't expect a huge uptick. We're about to get to that plateau of where we have the right resources, and we will be adjusting some of those fires to the west as we start to decrease in those resource numbers. So that's stuff we're looking at now as we start to get a handle on more and more of these fires.
Hey, any other questions?
There's a
Yeah,
question about
maybe.
total acres of each of the incidents.
Yeah, so that was shared, not on screen, but we did share that with the daily update. Maybe come on the screen, Maggie, and ask specific. Okay. All right. If you're not, again, if you're not getting, thank you, gentlemen, for your time today. We are super excited to be able to continue these updates. Please plan for another one on Friday. And then we'll ascertain how often those are going forward. So we have, again, if you are interested in the tour, please drop your interest into the chat, or email myself, or the incident email address would be where we need you to send that into. So, okay, I think we can adjourn for the day. Additional questions, again, send them to us directly, and we can see what we can do for you. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
And we join On Point now in progress.
You can't do